spare part canisters.
Red 2, standing by.
Red 11, standing by.
Red 5, standing by.
Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil! From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Well, then you are lost!
G'day everyone, and welcome to Casual Rage 39, where we casually rage out about the topics of the week. And of course, I am joined by my usual friends, Tim, Open Airlock Policy. How are you, my friend?
Very busy, but I'm good. How are you?
Yes. Yeah, I'm doing well. Tim got here with 14 seconds to spare.
Mm-hmm.
He got in the back room just in time.
Down to the wire.
Exactly. That's a cool t-shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I also have like a bright red one. So,
Yep.
Yeah. Probably
Very nice.
one of my, as an adult, probably pretty close to being my favorite Marvel character, I think.
Yeah.
I used to like the X-Men a lot more, but man, that Daredevil series.
I was going to say, did you watch the series?
Yeah, and then the Kevin Smith run and Marvel Knights was actually excellent. So, yeah, good character. And the old shit is amazing. So if you ever get like a collected edition, check it out.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, Black Widow has a fair bit to do in the comics with Daredevil.
Yeah.
Or something. I'm not massively into the Daredevil stuff, but I just heard that. I think I heard it from Gary's video. One of Gary's videos.
Very underrated character, yeah.
How you been? You doing well?
Yeah.
Just good.
Just busy with work, and man, I just set my stream up for tomorrow night just before we started. So Saturday night, I got to work on that after we're done because I won't have time tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
enough.
It's just crazy right now.
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
No worries, of course, as usual. And we've also got Greg, Lost Jedi 22. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well.
That's good. It's piss and rain where you are, just like it is here.
Yeah, and now it's gotten like really, really windy. So, if I don't survive the stream, if a tornado hits, it's been fun.
Yep. Awesome. It was nice knowing you.
Yeah.
Well, again,
I'll go run outside, and I do live in the dairy state, so I'll go outside and reenact the scene from Twister and be like, "Cows, we got cows."
Oh,
there's another one. No, it's the same cow. Yes.
That movie was so bad.
Helen Hunt. We used to call her Helen.
That's not what I call her. Yeah.
Yeah. But not always good to have you here. Thank you for being here. Now, everyone in the chat, I have set up a Streamlabs so you can make some donations there. Just throwing that out there because, again, the whole YouTube thing with people doing super chats in America and all of that, they take a massive percentage. So if you feel so obliged, you can, and thank you. Let's see who we've got here in the chat. We've got Riff Magos in the chat. Thank you, Riff. He also did actually send a Streamlabs donation. Thank you. Or super chat, $5. He says, Rhino, you're a fucking legend. Thanks, mate. Keep up the great work. Thank you. He is one of my loyal patrons, so thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate it. We've also got Blake Sinclair in the house.
From Sydney, Australia.
Party time, dudes. Trey Courtney's here. We've got Runner in the chat. That's all that's in the chat. Obviously, there's a fair few lurkers there as well. We've got Tim F as well. We've got Blue-Eyed Scorpio. Thank you all for being here. The usual culprits by the looks of things.
So before we get too into the stream, I'm going to make you do something right now, Rhino.
What?
Thank you, Patreons.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to make up for my last. It's a good point.
Because every time we leave, damn it, I forgot to thank my Patriots again. I'm like, let's just do it now.
Yeah, okay. So for the last 2 weeks, at least, I think I've missed my patrons. So I'm going to make up for it. And then at the end, hopefully, I'll remember to actually thank them again. So let me go through my list here. We got Daniel James. We've got Lethal Lightning. Tim, Open Airlock Policy. Thank you. Lady Terriel. My Nerdy Home. Stephanie, My Nerdy Home. She's beautiful. Riff Magos, and Scimitar. So all of you, thank you very much.
Scimitar is a legend, man.
He is. I haven't done any content yet on that. There is a plan in place to try and give my patrons a bit more content. So I want to give them something for their donations, their support, and their help. So I will be setting something up hopefully reasonably soon. But everyone, thank you. And if you want to become a patron, you can find the link in the description.
I think you should do custom videos where you just go like, so if Jock Nerdy is a Patreon, you can do like a custom like, fuck off, Jock Nerdy.
Yeah. Like an answering machine.
Just pick the name Jock Nerdy. No.
Yeah. I'll do an answering machine service. I can set up your answering machine. This is
there's that celebrity site that you can pay celebrities to do that.
They give you a name and you say that name, then they can use it like if it's their ex-wife or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh.
Long time no see. Thank you everyone for being here. That's good. I like those ideas. We'll set that up. For sure. But yes, all the other people in the chat that are lurking, thank you all for being here and watching. I do appreciate it. All right, let's get into our first topic of the evening, which is the amazing former Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant, Leslye Headland. I'm just bringing it up now. Okay. So we know about the whole begging Kathleen Kennedy for the job to make some Star Wars. We've all seen that. I think a lot of people have also seen her little speech. It's calling out all the white bitches, which is in this thread. So we will have a look at that. But Greg, you've got this up again. Everybody, my reading's not up to scratch, so it'll take me forever to spit all of this out. So, Greg, if you can help us out with this, that'd be great. I mean, I screwed up a couple of super chats from last week, and they were literally one sentence. So, imagine trying to read all of that.
Well, I'll give it my best shot, I guess.
Yeah.
Just let me know what I'm reading.
All right. So, first of all, just your general thoughts in regards to Leslye Headland making Star Wars. Tim, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, and honestly, I just set up my stream for tomorrow night with Stephen Wayne, and we're going to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, all she's doing here is confirming what we knew was coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
All this is a confirmation, but there's something in that interview that to me stood out like a sore thumb. So what it was is, we hired someone that doesn't know anything about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to take that angle, I think you could have a writer ask a friend, "Hey, I want an outside perspective," but to actually hire a writer that doesn't know the universe, is that a good way to spend money or to do the universe that you're playing in? Not that you're playing in, that you're being trusted with as a shepherd, as a caretaker, to hire someone who doesn't know anything about it. I think it is grossly irresponsible. And think of all the people that they could have hired. Not that anyone that would want to work on that kind of shit, but just think about it. Like, I'm going to hire someone who knows. There it is right there. The second bullet point. Data Racer called it out. Never seen Star Wars. Again, if you want an outside perspective, have one of the writers talk to their friends. Everyone has friends that hasn't seen Star Wars, right? I think you mentioned some a few weeks ago, Rhino. You have some friends that never see. So talk to them like, "Hey, I'm going to make a Star Wars TV show. What would you think of this or that?" But to hire someone, to me, that stood out like big mistake.
Well, YouTube is asshole, Cellshade. Yes, big mistake. What do you think, Greg?
Kind of just going to be echoing Tim's sentiments there. Like, none of the stuff about representation and everything, 100,000% fully expected it. If you actually go to the AV article, because I just did this before we started, the word cry appears 5 times. Like, she's like emotionally unstable as well. She cries at everything. As far as like hiring somebody that's not familiar with the source material, it can be done if that person then takes it upon themselves to immerse themselves and then learn it. Star Wars is an awful big universe. That's quite an undertaking, especially if you start getting into the expanded lore or the expanded universe and everything like that. But like that's wiped out, so I guess they don't necessarily need to do that. Just a matter of watching, 9 movies, I guess, or 10 movies, 11 movies, counting Solo and Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah.
So, I give an example.
But hold on, Greg. It's okay. You don't have to watch the Disney trilogy because remember that's going to be decanonized once Kathleen Kennedy's fired. So
right,
I just wanted to step in and correct you there.
Interwoven with everything. Yeah,
exactly. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. Like it can be done, and the example I always go to is Wrath of Khan. The director and producer really weren't Star Trek people. What they did though is when they got hired on, they watched the entire original series. That's like if you're going to devote that level, like it can be done if the writer's particularly gifted and you want them in. So by itself. No, but then when you factor in that so much attention is being given to the representation aspect, it makes me believe that they're not going to put the attention is going to be there and not on knowing and understanding how the Star Wars universe works. So it's just going to be it's going to be a disaster. Like this person, I could read the quote from the article. There were people like myself, and this is Leslye Headland answering a question here. There were people like myself that were later in life Filoni acolytes. I literally had one writer that was like, I've never seen any of them. I've never seen any Star Wars media. And then she's texting me before we started the room. She's like, Luke and Leia are brother and sister? What the blank? And then she laughs. And I'm picturing her laugh to be somewhere in between Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, yeah.
Just based on her personality. Yeah, based on her personality, that's kind of what I'm picturing. Like this, really demented, warped, evil female Joker type of person. But that's funny. Like that's such a tropey thing, right? Like, oh, Star Wars, Luke and Leia kissed. Ew. It just screams to me that even she doesn't really have that. And to call herself a Filoni, the most damning thing in that entire response isn't the fact that the writer has never watched Star Wars. It's the fact that she considers herself a Filoni acolyte.
Yeah.
Whoa, red flags right there. Bad, not good.
Yeah. That is bad.
That to me is more damning than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, she does have a fucking joke laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, can we read just a bit through this, seeing as we've sort of given our thoughts on it? Hello, OG. G'day, Alora. How are you? Hello. Smash the like button, everyone, please, because Alora told you to.
Yeah.
Let's read some of what she has. Just not just that, but what else did she have to say?
All right, we'll get into So if you go into the tweet with the image there, I'm pulling from snippets that he put together.
Right.
Yeah. Next one. There you go.
That one.
That's where I'm pulling from. And I'll just do the highlighted blue.
Yep. Go for it.
And that goes for ideology as well. I mean, it's funny because a lot of the feedback that I'll get, and I use the terms feedback very lightly, but when I go on social media, the feedback is don't make Star Wars political. I'm like, George Lucas made it political. Those are political films.
Yeah,
War is by nature political. This is just what's up. It's truly what he was interested in talking about and looking at, digging into. So it's kind of impossible to tell a story within his universe that doesn't have to do with, and it cuts off there, something that blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Well,
I know
go for it. This is where the unnuanced mind of the SJW of the younger crowd, no offense, anyone in the chat, comes into play because all they think is any political is means any political is good political, right? There's a difference between George possibly having some allegories to war is bad and stuff like that in his movies, and saying, okay, since he did that, it's okay to do identity politics, right? As long as someone did some kind of political stuff and their franchise means I can do any kind. And that's not it.
Well, see, it's ridiculous.
That's not it. That's
the reason why she's saying that it's political is because of the prequels, right? There was a lot of politics involved. But the difference is that you've got in-universe politics, and you've got the difference between bringing real-world politics into your entertainment, into your content. There is a difference. You know, you've got movies, you've got plenty of movies out there that have political themes, right? But they're based around those political themes within that universe if they're necessary. Not basically you just you know, oh, we need to make sure that, you know, BLM shows up in fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, and
go
ahead, Greg.
I was just going to say, like, to what Tim said, there's a difference between some politics and then all politics. So if you look at the original 6 movies, right, it's kind of a fall of Rome story. And yeah, that's political. But it's actually more of a moral story than it is a politics. Politics is the vehicle, but it's a morality story. It's evil, oppressive, dictatorial empire versus a republic, freedom, individuality. You know, that's the message of the original movies. To say, yes, it did have politics surrounding it, but it was in its own world of politics. And I think it was more of a moral story than a political story.
And again, there's a timeless political message like that, and then there's this identity politics stuff. Well, we're gonna push, you know, the alphabet people, and you know, this and that. Again, she's using and honestly, I think he even had interviews, Lucas did, where he said there was Bush stuff in the prequels, right? I believe he just came out and said it, but it doesn't ruin the movie. It's still a timeless tale that, hey, you know, I think war is bad. Okay, fine. I don't necessarily agree with that, but there it is. It's a reasonable tale to tell. But when you bring in all this current day identity politics and all this insanity that they're coming up with into the Star Wars universe. I mean, look what they're doing in the books, talking about pronouns and all this other stupidity, periods, and you know, what's next? We're not going to shave our armpits and stuff like that. When you bring that stuff in, that's the difference. And she's just basically using the fact that Star Wars was political to justify any kind of politics in the universe, franchise, whatever you want to call it, in its current form, we should say.
Yeah, it's a timeless political story. I mean, you said it yourself. Like this has been repeated in history several times. You know, I mentioned Rome, but and the danger is, and the reason we tell this tale is because it didn't take a whole lot to get there, right? To go from republic to empire, right? You know, politically, and the message is be wary. As far as the prequels go, the prequels were conceived, and you know, the first one came out before Bush was even in office.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. You know, Phantom Menace came out in '99, right? George Bush was you know, elected in 2000, took office in 2001.
Yeah.
So either he had no outline of where he was going to go with the thing, or that was already in place before any of the Iraq War and, you know, War on Terror, any of that other stuff came. You can tell the parallel. I mean, I think there's a line in, you know, one of them where Padme's line is, "This is how democracy dies," you know, with applause.
Liberty
or whatever.
dies, yeah.
Liberty dies, yeah. And, you know, and then the scene in the meadows where Anakin, it basically says, "Well, I'll force him to agree,"
right,
and everything. that's a timeless political message. It was not just of that time in early 2000s as well. So yeah, basically, politics isn't everything. You can't escape it because politics is basically people, people and policies, right? Like, so there is going to be politics in almost every single media form. But again, the level, there's timeless tales, and then there's just like this modern day first world issues.
The example that I give is Gladiator. The movie Gladiator has political themes, but those political themes are within that universe, right? Could you imagine bringing today's political themes, like real life political themes, to that movie Gladiator? Like there's a difference. And you know why she's saying it? Because she's never watched it, so she doesn't understand it. And when it really comes down to the nitty-gritty of it all, it's like you guys have been saying, everything's sort of got these political themes to them, or, but there is that difference, kind of like in regards to what I was saying about within universe and then, bringing the bullshit in. Yeah. Because, all the importance for her is literally, it says there in the tweet that Data Racer puts out, female and queer representation is top priority. Yeah. Anyway, let's read a couple more of these things, Greg.
Yeah, speaking of that, I can do like the next one underneath it is to that power when you're creating media to just put in certain types of people that maybe aren't necessarily in normal mainstream content or media. It's just, I know that for people who don't identify that way, it doesn't seem important, but to us, it's huge. I literally saw an Orbitz commercial with two women going on vacation, and I was like, again, crying. It just hits you on a level that you don't know you're missing. You don't know you're missing it until you see it.
Wow.
See, and again, that's one of the instances where she's crying. She's crying at an Orbitz commercial because there's two women going on vacation together. I can't speak to it because I'm not of that community. Maybe someday I'll get a letter in the alphabet for me. But I can't relate, but like I just can't imagine like actually crying seeing like just myself in something like that. Like I look at it and don't go like I want to be Luke Skywalker. I don't want Luke Skywalker to be like me.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot more criers out there than we know. I mean,
Well, as we witnessed with the disgusting Mandalorian.
That's right. Luke Skywalker shows up and half the fucking world goes to fucking tears. It's just...
My question is, if that makes her cry, what's going to happen when that commercial is allowed to air in the Middle East? What's she going to do then?
Yeah, I don't...
Well, I wonder what the go is in regards to promoting this film or this series in China. Mm-hmm. Think about that for a second. If it's all about female and queer representation, well, you can't have queer representation going to China. You've got a writer that has never even watched Star Wars, and you've got a writer that pretty much says that politics and fan opinions. Well, fan opinions aren't important, and yeah, politics is what's important. What the fuck? Stop making documentaries, Hollywood. Stop trying to make documentaries out of your IPs that you own.
Right.
Stop trying to turn it into reality television.
Yeah, and to highlight Ryan's comment there, this shit's being funded by the Mandalorian, essentially, by buying Baby Yoda merchandise and all that. Mm-hmm. They're using that to keep them in the black, not really making a huge profit, but keeping themselves in the black so that they can go and create the Acolyte and stuff like that.
Oh my God. I just realized who the Acolyte could be.
Who?
Omega.
Doesn't this happen 200 years before?
From the Bad Batch? Is it supposed to be 200 years before?
Yeah, it's like it's during the High Republic. Yeah.
Again, fucking who knows? And good day, Ryan. How you doing, mate? I just want to say, actually, while I've got him in the chat, thank you, Ryan, for all your assistance through this, growing the channel and everything. You gave me shout-outs on Friday Night Tights. I don't know. Sometimes I say it, and I don't know if he's even in the chat, but I know he is now, so thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Thanks, Ryan.
I don't know. Continue. Go to the next one. Unless you got something else to add.
Well, let's see. Well, the next quote is, you'll have to feel like this speaking directly to you, regardless of what you might be going through, at what point in life you're going through it. That being said, as somebody that is lesbian, every time I see a gay or queer representation in the media, I scream with happiness. There's just nothing like seeing it out in the world. I literally was behind two mothers with their children at the airport, and I was crying. There you go, she's crying again. It is so unusual to see, and as someone who was raised very religiously and very heteronormatively, I mean, I could almost get emotional talking about it now.
Oh She's seeing that. Look, guys, look. Before I moved from California, in the late 90s, I would see same-sex couples walking in the mall together. And this is, before, let's say, 1998. So this shows how big of a bubble she lives in, how small of a bubble, let's put it that way, she lives in. That seeing that makes her cry. That's her first world, where that is something big. I'll tell you what's big is like the Berlin Wall coming down, where people are no longer under fucking tyranny. Where someone who's been in depression and wants to commit suicide is somehow relieved of that depression. That's something to cry about, not seeing something that you want to see because you think it's important. And you're trying to make yourself a hero just by supporting a cause that pretty much no one cares that you support. Like, no one cares if someone is that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I could give a rip.
No. See, most people don't. Most people see it and don't even think about it. And I think that might be the problem for these people. Like, when you've made your entire life this cause, right?
Yes.
Like, it's all about this your entire life, and it's like you fucking won, like, and you've won a long time ago. At least here, like, there's battles to be fought in other countries, for sure. But like, most people don't even think about it. It's just kind of like they don't care.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that might be the problem. Is that now people, it's so normalized that I don't think people care, and now they're not as special as they thought they were.
Yeah.
Right.
And I really think it's that narcissism that like really like poisons these representation hawks, call them. That's what really poisons their mind, is it just this narcissism. It has to be about them, and what they are has to be some big thing. Like,
yes.
And they want to have it both ways. They want it to be completely normal, yet they want it to be like some act of bravery to be normal.
And that's why they're ratcheting stuff down over the last 3 or 4 years, right? Because I think they're losing that relevancy and that heroism, doing air quotes here, because what do you do when you start losing that relevancy? Hey, let's start playing victim even harder and stuff like that. Because if that makes you cry, what kind of bubble are you living in? To go back to my point from earlier, of all the things.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to it. We got another crying quote.
I'd hate to see Leslye Headland here in Australia watching Australian TV. Every second ad has queer, gay representation in it. Like, every second ad now. And
did someone already make the Kevin Smith joke? Sorry.
She'd probably she'd probably cry just watching TV commercials here in Australia.
Yeah, like some emotional wreck that like cries at like a coffee commercial and everything like that. It's like, like I don't know, like get a. Guess
see,
what?
again, this is
you've gotten what you've wanted. You're a normal schlub like everybody else now.
But see, this is
that's what you wanted.
So as long as she cries, as long as she says that she cries over these moments, like she goes to an airport and she sees a gay man get home after being, locked down in some other state for so long, and his gay partner comes running over and they have a kiss and cuddle. She'll sit there bawling her eyes out at the airport. As long as the people in Hollywood that make the decisions of who to employ know that she's doing that, then she's the right person.
Yeah.
That's why it's okay now to basically just come out and say, I was bawling my eyes out because I saw these two gay guys kiss. It was beautiful. Whatever.
Well, you were going to say get a grip earlier, Greg. I think. Well, I mean, get a grip as long as it's on a nice set of tits and not a dick. If you're Leslye Headland, and you'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, here we go. I mean, we can get into her crying again. Here a quote. I saw a video of a little girl dressed up as Ray at Disney World or Disneyland or whatever it was. My wife sent me the video. It was so cute. I'm watching it. I'm kind of like, okay, cute. Yeah, got it. And then I just started crying again. I don't know why I'm crying all the time, but I just started crying because I forgot. Again, it's like, good Lord, lady, get it together. What is going to happen if one thing goes wrong on set that day? Or two of your camera crew fall in love and kiss in front of you. You're just going to start weeping and you're going to lose all the daylight to shoot in because you're just fucking crying your eyes out because you saw two gay people kiss.
What does she do when she watches porn? That's my question.
Oh man,
I don't want to picture.
She watches two girls scissoring, and she's just sitting there bawling her eyes out. Oh my god, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's
drink some water. Like I said, you're gonna get dehydrated.
She says she mentions crying 5 times in this article.
Either she's full of shit, or if she's really doing it, then she's a basket case.
Well, I think a large part of it is she's playing it up, right? Because this is her grift, this is her in, this is what's getting her paycheck, right? Is this kind of stuff. So she can't actually go on and do an interview and be like, yeah, it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, she can't do an interview on Star Wars. I bet you before her interviews, when it comes to anything that's going to come up about Star Wars, she is freaking out, right? Because she doesn't know. It's kind of like that question about what's your favorite Star Wars movie.
I like all the Star Wars.
I like all the Star Wars. There's not just one Star Wars. I don't think about it like that. Because you've never fucking seen it. You fucking
do you know what the headline, you know what the title of the article is?
What?
Leslye Headland's favorite Star Wars is the Star Wars you make your own.
Yeah. How fucking
that's the title. That's the title of the article.
Written unironically by some cuck AV Club writer too. So
yeah, that's Danette Chavez.
It's a shit outlet.
Let's read about Danette Chavez.
What's the first name?
Danette.
Okay. All you do is you add "et" to a name and it becomes a girl name. Rhinoette. Yeah. Gregette.
Yep, Gregette.
That's what you moonlight as on weekends.
That's why I'm not too active on online on the weekends. And that's the real reason that we had to go to every other week for Fall of Night. Gregette's got to get his freak on.
There's one more little bit. Greg, read that one.
Okay, last one.
Yep.
Characters that I gravitate to. Oh, I'm picking up mid-sentence. That's a problem with these little snippet pieces. But, all right. Probably, I mean, one of the things that we did in our writer's room is kind of break the ice, was ask, who's your favorite Star Wars character? And you could tell the people, when I said mine, they were like, yeah, well, you're gay. That's because you're gay. It's true. Now, I looked further in the article past the snippet, just the screenshot. I'm like, but okay, then which one is your favorite? Is it L337? Like, what's your favorite Star Wars character then?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I'm just a straight white male, except for every other weekend. I don't know. Like, which Star Wars character would say I'm a lesbian? If they said, "Oh, I like this character," you'd be like, "Oh, lesbian." Holdo?
Star Wars. She cried. She cried.
Yeah, I mean, she probably was bawling at Rise of Skywalker for that, like that 2-second
it's
kiss
all
between
the characters.
No, you know,
I don't see just one Star Wars character. It's all the characters.
She didn't see that, Greg, because she was on vacation in Dubai when she saw Rise of Skywalker, so she didn't get to see that scene. So, yeah, and she didn't want to see the movie again. Who did?
Yeah, well, somebody should show her at least that little clip because I mean, wow, that was a sexy kiss.
Mm-hmm.
There was some real passion there.
Let's listen to this. We've heard it before. Let's listen.
I'm not
to
calling you bitches. I am.
God, I hate her. Oh, and one of my pet peeves is hearing somebody say like in between it annoys the shit out of me.
You know, we cannot hear.
No audio,
Senor.
Oh, sorry.
Great. So we're just sitting at these three women on a couch. That's really that's some really compelling shit.
Oh, fantastic.
That's not a casting couch I want to partake in.
Like, just put that on Twitch and ask for bits to end the stream.
All right, let's try this again.
Just say that, like, I think white women need to kind of step up their game, to be quite honest. Like, sorry, but I'm calling you bitches out. Like, you really do, because, like, you know, there's like we can like I couldn't agree more with everything that these brilliant women are saying, but like I'm also
they're so brilliant,
which is a lot of white women that are kind of reinforcing a lot of old ideas. They're I think a lot of it, you know, to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'll just speak from my own personal experience. It's just like I wasn't sure how to be an ally. I wasn't sure what type. I got so caught up.
Okay, so hold on a second. Just in regards to that last statement, isn't she gay? Like, isn't she a lesbian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she doesn't know how to be an ally. Oh, this is for the black people. Is it? I don't know. She's so dumb.
I don't know. I don't know
I don't know. I mean, because like she'd have to be an ally maybe with the trans people. Then, like, she didn't know how to be an ally there, or you know, who knows?
Oh, Lady Tariel, no, don't say that.
Probably.
Make it happen. Make that happen. God, that would be fucking hilarious.
Don't do it.
Make that happen.
Don't do it.
Your new angels, everybody.
Tell Skirmitar to make a video of this on Charlie's Angels. He'll get it done.
Hello, Charlie.
I got so caught up.
They wouldn't say hi to him. They'd kick his ass.
Yeah.
Like, you give us a mission, asshole.
I was supposed to be using and being politically correct and so
pronouns
started to rise in television. I started to just get more blunt and just start saying, like, I would like a black writer, because if I said diverse, you know, you get well, white is diverse, which is something somebody said to me, and I was like, wow.
Oh my God.
I was like, it's not cool, but to really, you know, I reached out to my, you know,
she reminds me of J.J. Abrams when he's like giving his answers to questions. It's like you know. So you can never actually make sense of anything that these fucktards are saying, because they literally can't spit out a sentence without adding in the ums, ahs, in between, and they go for so fucking long. They try. What they're trying to do is they're trying to give their point, and then they try and elaborate on that point. The problem is that in between making the point and the elaboration of that point, they're fucking losing their minds, because what they're saying is absolute bullshit that they're trying to come up with it on the spot.
Well, they're trying to sound intelligent. It's all about a virtual signal. So they're trying to sound academic.
Yep.
And they're not really coming off as sounding very academic at all. I'd just like to point out the thing, like, so you basically group all the cultures of Earth, Europe and the rest under something, and then label it white, and then you can say, well, that's not diverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because,
that's
that's
almost what I was going to say.
Because there's white passing now. Asians are considered white in certain circumstances. Jews are considered white. Like, there's no other like cultural divisions between. We're all just homogeneous. We all have the same ideologies, the same religious beliefs, core values, customs, all those things. Because you're just dismissing it and saying,
okay. Yeah. So I thought a lot of these people, these activists, these fucktards like Leslye Headland were fighting for equality, right? Now, if in your eyes, right, in her eyes, she sees white people as the scum of the earth. You've been on your privilege fucking train and you've just been living life up while all the other minorities out there have been having to struggle through their lives, right? That's her. How is that equality? I'm sorry. It's fucking not. You're now basically going, give it fucking 30 years and the white men will be in fucking slave camps. And then they'll be the ones that have to fight for their freedom so that they can experience what all the slaves had to go through, all the blacks had to go through back in the 1940s, 50s, whenever fucking slavery was massive. Right?
Slavery wasn't a thing in the 1950s, dude.
Oh, fucking
segregation, yes, but
at least not in the Western Hemisphere, no.
Slavery's ended in the late 1800s.
Okay, well, segregation and that sort of thing. It was still obviously
before
all prevalent.
Any of us were born. Yes.
It's so stupid, though. Like, what?
Before many of us even had ancestors in this country.
I'm sorry, Leslye Headland, for you to feel better about the color of my skin. Would it make you feel better if you turned me into a slave? Like, and so just so that I could experience it? What happens if I come out the other end of that? Am I still a white privileged fuckhead in your eyes?
But she doesn't have to do it either, right? Because she's the one that's enlightened. So she doesn't have to be a slave with you.
No, but she doesn't have to because she's gay.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All I have to do is say that I take. All I have to do is say I take it in the pooper, and I'm okay. That's all I have to say.
You actually have to do it at least one time.
I don't even have to fucking do it. I can just say it, and I'm cool. I no longer have white privilege because I've been oppressed in the 80s and the 90s as a kid, being a gay little boy. It's so fucking stupid. Think about it. When you say these things,
let it out, man. Let it out.
When you say these things, by the way, I'm not coming out of the closet, but like when you say these things out loud, it becomes fucking even more retarded. When you think about it, you sit there and go, "This is just stupid." But then when you actually hear it, I lost him. I got him. Look, I got him completely. Fucked him up. But yeah, look. This lady that's sitting next to him, is she even a white woman? Or is that just her makeup that makes her look darker? I don't know. I can't tell. Anyway, I don't know where to go from here. Let's continue. Fucking, we're halfway through this.
Are you accusing her of blackface?
Oh, maybe. Maybe. Don't get too dark a foundation, ladies.
Or not writers and directors, and I said, what should I say? What language should I use? And I think it's worth it if you're in a position of hiring power or green lighting power to like reach out to people that are not like you and say, what can I do to be an ally? And how can I support writers of color and LGBTQ and disabled writers? Like, what can I do?
LDGB.
How does a disabled writer write? Like, imagine a quadriplegic. They've just got to.
Well, I would imagine that there's many labels. Like, she's not saying armless.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, disabled. Okay. So what if they can't see? What if they're blind? We've got to get some writers, some blind writers. We need equal. We need equal. You get deaf. You got to have some deaf writers. They're doing their storyboard, and everybody behind them's going, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that." And it's like,
didn't someone tell Leslye that they don't need to do that because 90% of the writers, whether it's novels or comics or TV shows, they're already retarded, so they don't need any more. they don't need any more disabled representation.
They're fully represented. They're overrepresented in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
We need just some like regular writers who can write normal stories.
Yeah.
Let me read these super chats because I know Daniel wants me to read it before he's got to duck back out. But Jock Nerdy for $50 through Streamlabs. Thank you. He goes, click, click, boom. Thank you very much. I was going to do the but you know. And then,
oh God, that'll get you banned.
Yeah.
Really?
And then Daniel James, of course, for $31, there's going to be a fuck Victoria in here somewhere.
Yep.
You know what? Oh, why does it do that? Oh, man, it literally... Anyway, never mind. You know what? I want representation. Where's mine? Where the regular guys... Sorry. Where the regular guy, normal life, normal problems, and D just happened to be gay. No gay... What is that? No gay stereotype. Sorry, it does cut the word off. No gay stereotype for me, please. Also, fuck Victoria and...
There it is.
Pineapple Gang. Thank you,
Nice.
Daniel. I did butcher that a little bit, and I do apologize. But I got what you're saying. Yes,
No, I mean it's a good point. Like, we probably all know at least one more gay people in our immediate lives, in our work, in our social lives, whatever. Their entire existence isn't centered around the fact that they're gay. They have like other likes and wants and interests and things like that. But the way Hollywood wants to portray them is like these characters that literally just that's their whole everything.
Yeah, I don't watch the show. I never really did, but it was called The Real World on MTV. Oh, and I was flipping channels one time and I came across an episode and there was this girl. And this is not really relevant to the story, but she happened to be of at least mixed African descent, right? And she was from England. And she was basically saying this girl, another girl on the squad, whatever the hell they called it, some white girl, she's like, she keeps asking me all these questions about England. And that's kind of the same thing. It's like, you know, you meet someone from another country and you think that's their whole identity. It's like they have they have hopes and dreams and they're people. They don't want to. Hey, do you guys really call it fish and chips? Do you really drink warm beer? Like no one cares. It's like I'm a person, you know. And it's the same thing here. People like Leslye Headland they're pets. They like to use them as pets, is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 1,000% agree. Like you know, oh, you're from here, so you must be this.
Just quickly, Roger H. I've lost it, but I'm assuming that it is the thumbs up. The Mark the Cyborg. Thank you very much, Roger. He always sends a.
Let me check it for you.
Yep, it was a thumbs up.
I had a look.
It was a thumbs up, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And there was one more. Hold on a second.
Lady Toriel.
Yeah, it's a lot harder with having two now. Lady Tariel for $5. I'm toxic and proud of it. And toxic men, hell yeah. Thank you. Yes. Well, we're
in the right place.
We are all toxic fans. We're all toxic men. I don't really understand when. It's so funny, you know, like even when we had the sequel trilogy and everybody was being called a sexist because you couldn't have Rey Skywalker and you're just a bunch of man babies sitting in your basement. But then when the women came out and said, no, they're right, you know, we're all in this together. We all see the same things. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we want to show this Jon Favreau clip as well?
What's that one about?
This one's just the difference between Nerd Cookies put this out there. Just the difference between how Jon Favreau talks about Star Wars and how how Leslye Headland talks about Star Wars. So she just basically, so just underneath, she basically it's a comparison sort of thing in regards to how they're talking about it. Now, before I do play this, actually, I do want to say, and I have said this before, that I believe when it comes to Star Wars, that Jon Favreau's heart is actually in the right place. But the problem is that the people that he's got to go to for assistance in regards to lore, structure, continuity, all of that sort of thing, don't give a fuck. And they're just as on board with the whole Kathleen Kennedy camp to show the representation and females behind the camera and in front of the camera and blacks behind the camera and in front of the camera and LGBTs behind the camera and in front of the camera. Like, that's what's important. So, yes, I do appreciate what Jon Favreau is saying here. And I actually like Jon Favreau as an actor. I think he was really good in the Marvel movies as Happy. But there was what was that show? It was a series that he was in, and he was an agent. It's right on the tip of my tongue. He was an agent for like this actor, and it was loosely based on Mark Wahlberg, apparently.
Oh, was it Entourage?
Entourage. Yeah.
Was he in Entourage?
Know he was in that.
Was he in that? No, he wasn't the agent.
I don't think so. I think you're thinking of Jeremy Piven.
Maybe I'm getting it wrong. He was funny, though, in Friends. Anyway, let's have a listen to what he's got to say, because I'm probably wrong on that anyway.
Well, that's the thing, with especially with Star Wars, but always you want to make sure if you're making it and the fans don't dig what you're doing. I was wrong. I don't know that I can keep doing it. Like, a big part of it is that you want to connect. You want to connect with the fans when you're taking on something like Star Wars. You know, I didn't create Star Wars. You know, I grew up with Star Wars, and so you want to make sure you're servicing it in a way that's respectful to what came before, and in a way that is hopefully delights the audience and the fans. Well, that's the thing.
Okay, so he's definitely done that. He's definitely made the fans quite happy through The Mandalorian, and I don't care what anybody says. You liked The Mandalorian before Gina Carano was fired. I understand that you like her, but just that she's gone doesn't change the art of what The Mandalorian was. So, look,
that answer. I'm gonna stop you there.
Mm-hmm.
The Mandalorian is not well written.
No,
it doesn't honor what came before.
We've gone through it many times. It's a super thin, barely there tour. It's basically a tour of, okay, we're going to go to Mos Eisley. We're going to have a city that looks like Mos Eisley. Then we're going to have a city on a lava planet that looks like Mos Eisley. Then we're going to go to a seaside city that looks like Mos Eisley. Then we're going to go out in the middle of a park, and then we're going to have Castle Mos Eisley. Like even the aesthetics of the thing is like, we haven't even seen a city, like an actual, like, real city. It's all the same fucking shit. So even aesthetically, I don't even think it's good. But the writing is awful, and the answer he gives there is basically the equivalent of like a high performing athlete at the end of the game saying like the boilerplate standard meaningless cliche lines.
More like a coach than a player, really.
Yeah. That was like the coach's thing, like, oh, it was a team effort, you know. The other team really gave us their best, appreciate, you know, everything, but it was good game. Glad we came down on top. Like, it's just all the cliche stuff that you're supposed to say. There's really no meat there. And to say like that's necessarily a representation of his actual beliefs, I don't know. Right, I think he's just giving a boilerplate PR answer. I'm not gonna give a whole lot of kudos for that answer because it's just.
Well, and it doesn't honor what came before.
Right, it's not bad. It's awful.
It did.
Look, we've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you enjoy it, good for you. I'm glad you enjoy it. It annoys me a little bit because if you're enjoying that, then that's what they're going to continue to make, right? Just as Jon Favreau said, if people aren't enjoying it, well, then I don't really feel like continuing making it. So people are obviously enjoying it, right?
Here's what I said.
Sorry, I just want to make a quick point.
Yeah, keep going.
The people that are out there right now arguing lore and continuity in anything, Marvel, Loki. You want to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier? You want to talk about WandaVision? You want to talk about DC? You want to talk about you complain about keeping the lore and, honoring the source material and all this kind of stuff, right? You talk about the sequel trilogies being trash and destroying what came before and destroying the lore and destroying the continuity, right? But then when it comes to Mandalorian, you're blind to it. I can. We've gone over it. I can give you the facts. I can show you what they're doing is destructive, but yet it's okay because Luke Skywalker, right? So again,
a lot of people were on board, but even before that, like I think the Luke Skywalker thing was just more confirmation bias. But honestly, the people that were into the Mandalorian were in it before that. I don't understand why. I think it's such a flimsy, nothing plot and story. Like if you really think about it, like after 2 seasons, what do we know about Din Djarin?
That he's a foundling.
He's a foundling. He was an orphan,
and that it seems like that he's a part of some offset group of fucking rogue Mandalorians that don't honor what Mandalorians really do.
Like honestly, tell me, like if you're writing season 3, what's he gonna do? What's his motivation now? What does he want to do? Even we don't even know until they basically tell us. And they invent it because we can't even fathom what his next set of goals is going to be because he's been such a blank character. He's just an empty suit.
Hey, look,
his whole thing was tied. His whole thing is tied to the Green Rat.
Yeah, Grogu. We lost viewers, and if this is the thing, like if you can't sit down and have a conversation. I was having a conversation with my cousin. He loves Loki. I hate it. Right? We were sitting there. We were actually having a normal conversation. Now, I, didn't really see his viewpoint. Well, I did, but I didn't really understand how that goes and structures to the source material and all this kind of stuff. And I was trying to give my points, but it was a normal conversation. If you can't sit down and, I got for not liking Loki and thinking that the last episode of Loki was boring, I got called worse than an SJW. Okay, if that's your fucking argument, I don't want you to fucking comment. Because if you're going to say to me that I'm worse than an SJW, fucking go for it. I don't fucking care, right? But I'd rather, if you've got a valid point on why I'm wrong and you're right, fucking tell me. I'm willing to listen. I actually said to that person, I wrote back to him, and I actually said to them, I was listening to you. I was listening to the first part of his comment. But then when he got to me being more worse than an SJW, I'm like, fuck this guy. His argument is completely invalid now to me. You want to make that argument? Go for it. And it's okay to like bad things.
Yeah.
No, but here's what I highlight Trey's comment.
And think that it's good.
Here's what I said today. I said, quick reminder that The Mandalorian is a lore-breaking, EU-appropriating woke production with dumbed-down storytelling that perpetuates the Disney brand of Star Wars and funds projects such as The Acolyte. That's Leslye Headland show. It fixed nothing. Buy old merch and watch/read old productions #Swiss. So I did a video months and months ago on, hey, she's a great person. I agree with her and all kinds of stuff. But that character, SJW websites, all the normal characters that you see out there all these websites were writing about that character, like how great the character is. She beat up Mando. Yay, yay. It's a woke character, folks. And then to his point, she had no character moment because you know how many episodes that character's in 2 seasons? What is it,
Six,
like 6?
4 to 6, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too, though, is that her story arc changes from season 1 to season 2.
Everyone's does.
Actually, you're right. Everyone's actually does in some way, shape, or form.
The biggest contrast is...
except for Din Djarin, because he's just a blank slate anyway.
Well, not only that, but he's just the babysitter.
Action Jackson, his is the biggest. Like, he goes from this more or less...
Greek Karga?
Whatever the fuck his name is. He goes from this criminal... Yeah, it's Grief Karga. This criminal... bounty hunter guild guy that's really ruthless to this guy that hugs babies and
sets up schools.
What the hell?
Sets up schools, goes on raids,
mm-hmm.
Imperial bases and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny that you like even now, just in conversations, I hear people saying like, I'll ask my sister, are you liking Loki? And she almost doesn't know how to answer it because she doesn't know how I'm going to react. So she'll say, yeah, I'm enjoying it. And then I'll go, yeah, okay. And then I showed her my video on the timekeepers and all of that sort of thing. She's like, yeah, I'm not into all the deep stuff, she calls it. And that, again, I understand that. There's normies out there that don't understand the source material. So when they're watching this, it's like watching it for the first time. Right? Or like seeing this story for the first time, whereas there are other people out there that have seen the story through the comics or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. But, if my point is, if you're sitting here and you're ever arguing over lore and continuity and things like that, and then when people come back to you and go, no, you're wrong, right? They don't have to stick to that. It's good. And you arc up at them. Well, then you know how I feel when people talk to me about Star Wars and The Mandalorian being the best thing since fucking Empire Strikes Back. Fucking anyway. Let's move on to our next topic. I just want to talk about this a little bit. It has been sort of relevant to, of course, how Leslye Headland views Hollywood and the platforms that they have and all of this kind of thing. And it is in the title. I just wanted to talk quickly a little bit about Snow White before we get into the other stuff. Now, have you guys watched many of the Disney remakes recently? Tim?
I never watched any of the Disney makes.
Okay, so you're not a massive Disney person anyway.
No. Mm-mm.
All right,
no.
Greg, what about you?
No.
No.
Just straight out.
But I will say this, and it's kind of funny, and we may get to this thing, in that Atlantic article. They throw shots at like Disney's like Hollywood's chief recycler. I think is the words they used.
Oh.
Like Disney's never in its entire history been original. Never.
Correct, because all these are very
always. These are all old fairy tales. Yep. They've never been in the first Snow White in 19 whatever the fuck was not an original movie either.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fairy tale. Like all their big hits, like maybe a handful of them might actually be kind of original, but they've been the chief remaker of things their entire existence. It's their entire brand.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean the Robin Hood with the red fox? That's not an original story. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Robin Hood existed before the animated thing. Although I did enjoy that cartoon when I was younger, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's I admit it. That's the only one I think out of all of them, because I always thought Disney was like childish and girly and stuff, and I was more into Bugs Bunny blowing stuff up with bombs and
Roadrunner and Coyote and, and Tom and Jerry and that kind of shit.
Yes.
I will say, like, I Disney animated stuff when I was younger. Fox and the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. Yeah, I like that one. That's fucking like 5 or 6 years old.
You liked Lady and the Tramp, didn't you?
No. To be honest, like even from a young age, I hated Disney's Disney's PETA agenda. Because like that's always been in their shit, Bambi.
Yeah.
You know,
what about
fucking
Mickey?
Careless murdering, hunters just set fire to the whole forest, and yeah.
The Mickey Mouse stuff is pretty original though from Disney. Like
when's the last Mickey feature?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Fantasia?
Back in the day though. Okay, so what do you think about, like, honestly, just isolating it to Snow White for a second? Her name Snow White is because her skin is white as snow. And mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? How are they going to do this? How are they going to do this?
They're just going to rewrite that line.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the blackest of them all?
They're just going to say who's the prettiest. That's all.
That's from a Beyonce.
That's all they have to do. Okay. Who's the prettiest of them all? And that's all they're going to do to change it. Is the story reworkable using a gender, or I'm not gender,
a race swap,
race swap character? Probably without a whole lot of writing effort, to be honest with you. But it is part of the core of the character is described in the original thing as being fair-skinned. So, I don't know. For me, with race swaps, I generally don't get to, I don't pay much attention to them. Because more often than not, they're in things that I just don't care about. Like the Disney fucking movies. Like, I don't care, honestly, if The Little Mermaid gets race swapped. Because guess what I'm never going to see? Oh, The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I don't care if Snow White gets race swapped. Because guess what I'm never going to see? A Snow White remake.
Well, also, too, just quickly, they don't... That's not even necessarily going to be the biggest thing. I mean, I watched the Aladdin remake, the live action Aladdin show, and that was full of fucking all this new, they completely changed that. I really didn't like it. But you've got this one nice, 3 to 4 minute song piece sung by the princess, saying about how I'm not going to be basically suppressed by men, right? Wow. Wow.
Let's get a straw poll going here.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, this is the thing, though. We talk about them adapting stuff and then race swapping and all this kind of stuff, and we sit here and we go, okay, if you want to do a story like that, then make your own fucking story. Make a whole new story. Is that possible in this case? If they wanted to do a Snow White story, but they wanted to be to be virtuous and all this kind of stuff, and they decide to cast a black actress, can they, call it something completely different? Instead of saying it's going to be a Snow White remake, but you know what will then happen? They'll pretty much make it exactly like Snow White, and people will go, oh, they just ripped off Snow White.
Yeah, so it would just be Snow White in a different name, which really doesn't matter. I think here, I'm trying to think back of a race swap that I actually got really kind of pissed off about.
And you can't think of one.
And I can't really think of one.
Well, it depends, though. It depends on if it affects their backstory and stuff. So if you made Magneto a black character...
Yeah, but they haven't yet. But
no,
yes,
that would. Yet, but that would piss you off. It's when it starts to affect the story of that character,
the core of the character.
That's right.
And I would say that another criteria would be the significance of the character.
Mm-hmm. It's like
if it's a character that happens to work in the same office as the main character, I really wouldn't care. Probably wouldn't even notice unless somebody paid attention to me. I just find it curious that some stuff gets this weird kind of like, oh, it's no big deal, and other stuff, it's everybody loses their mind. And
that's what I want to bring up.
9,000 videos about it.
Because you and I talked about this, I think Sunday night.
Yeah.
For the Star Trek. So, or maybe the Orville, whatever the hell it was. So my question is, playing devil's advocate here, where is the line? Because I didn't see very many people complaining about Nick Fury. Probably because most new Marvel fans didn't know that Nick Fury was a white guy.
That's true.
Right? Now, or some people could justify it by saying, well, in the source material, in the Ultimate Universe, Nick Fury is black. Yeah, but that's not the original. So didn't see a lot of people complaining about him. Is he a minor character? Not in MCU, right? He's pretty major. He's in all the dadgum movies. He'll pop up.
He was the thread that tied everything kind of together in the early going.
Yeah,
it was
not a lot of
it was the Nick Fury cameos, you know.
Not a lot of complaints, right? But then you get into something like
also
this.
Samuel L. Jackson probably didn't hurt the fact that it was
right. But then you get into something like this, and there are complaints. So I'm not saying it's not a good point. I just want to understand it more. Like, where is the line? Is it because the nature of this character? Probably.
I think it's more outrageous that they're just remaking these stupid things than stops. Personally, for this movie, I kind of hope they go all in. We discussed it. I want like this actress is pretty repugnant. Like if you've seen like the tweets that Data Racer, unsurfaced and the shit that she said in the past. Like
let's complain about that, not about
this is not a good person.
Right.
At least in my estimation. Like the shit she said about Jeremy Renner, all that other stuff that's come to light. But let's go all in. The dwarves got to be gay. What can we do about the queen? Like what can we do? She's trans. Oh, but you can't because then she's the villain of the story, so you can't do that.
Just be a normal white chick. It'll be a Karen.
Yeah, you're gonna have to you're just gonna rename her Karen, and then we can have a crossover from that that Karen movie that's gonna come out that looks hilariously bad and just uber cringe. Yeah, I don't know. I find it like I'm getting kind of fatigued with the whole swapping thing. And I think I guess the knee-jerk reaction is like if everybody's like yay representation, the knee-jerk reaction to that is just like oppose it because of who's for it, kind of thing.
Well, and to Rhino's point, when it starts affecting the character, that's when it matters. Because imagine in Commander Far Side of the World, what if Jack and Steven were played by black guys? I don't think that would have made sense. So what happens? You just don't make those movies. There's too many movies about white guys.
Right.
But then you look at this guy here, right? The movie comes out in about 1 month. A lot of people are making the argument, and they may or may not have a good point that, you can't change him to an Asian guy because that does change the character. Well, not necessarily, because if you saw that trailer, it's pretty clear that Henry Golding's playing an American in the film, whereas all the people around him are more culturally Japanese and stuff. And he's actually, I believe, of Indonesian descent in real life. So point is, we don't know until we see the movie. I have more complaints about all the trash that's in the movie that doesn't make any sense than
G.I. Joe, Lisa.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like the least of the concerns when it comes to G.I. Joe production.
Right. So
I view that a little bit differently, though, Tim. I think that it does sort of affect the character a little bit because he came into their lives as a sort of a half breed, didn't he?
Where in the comics?
Oh well, even in the original movie, the movie that they came out with, fucking he shows up. He's this white kid. And
he's a white kid in the comics too. Yeah,
I think it does sort of affect.
But if Henry Golding's if Snake Eyes is an American, does it really matter what race he is? Because it's pretty clear in the trailer that they're kind of annoyed with him that that he's not one of them.
He's assimilated into American culture, not Japanese culture.
Well, he's probably in the story. He's probably born in America, I'm guessing, but we won't know until we see it. So I don't see that as like a huge deal unless they really screw it up in the movie. But yeah, in the comic, which is the real canon, not the cartoon or any of that other shit, he was a blonde-headed white guy, and he didn't have the accident until after he joined the G.I. Joe team. So that's what she's saying there. That didn't happen until after the G.I. Joe team was formed and he was on it. So I don't have a problem with that. It's just we'll see what happens in the film. But I think being an American may be enough to cover the outsider aspect. It's what else will they do with the story? So I'm going to give it a chance. I'm not positive about it. I'm not optimistic about it, but I'm going to give it a chance.
Well, it's also too like the race swap, the sex swap, all of that sort of thing, right? Like, you make Charles Xavier a woman, and that changes everything about the character. You make, Wolverine bi and have a threesome with fucking Cyclops and Jean. Like, that's
not a superficial change.
It's
correct. So that does change the core of the character. But bringing it back to Snow White, so the Snow White story, is it important that she is, for the sake of the story, is anything having to do with like her actual skin color, other than the dialogue specifically saying?
Not really. It's more about
skin.
It's more about her beauty. So
it's about her beauty.
Yeah, so
you could legitimately race swap the character, and then just redo those couple lines to describe, the new skin tone or whatever, and would it change the story at all?
But this is the other thing too. They're doing it
character at all.
They're doing it so that the black women out there, black young girls and everything, can see themselves in this fantasy. Now I don't have the
well. She's Colombian and Polish.
Right.
Her mom is Colombian, her father is Polish.
Right.
It's not like, I mean, she identifies as Colombian, like if you look at her tweets, and that's the issue I have with her, is like she's just she's a repulsive person. She's the type of person that would advocate the canceling of Chris Pratt, Gina Carano,
it's like Justina Ireland and Christina Ariel. She's like one of them,
right? And like that's why I would not like her cast in this particular role. For me, I don't have any skin in the game anyway, because there's no amount of money that well, I won't say that. Pay me enough, I will watch it, but. Like, I have absolutely no desire to ever see this movie. Like,
you'd go and see it for
Snow White story is stupid. It's a stupid fairy tale with the princess. Like, I'm a dude.
Yeah,
this movie isn't made for me.
Yep.
It's not even a good princess story. It's kind of a dumb story.
Yeah, it is.
Like, if you really break it down, it's really a stupid story.
Yep, she's perfect for Disney. That's right. Lady Tariel is out. Thank you for coming by, Lady Tariel. We always
see you later.
Seeing you.
Have a good work day or work evening.
Well, yeah, I think we've talked enough about the Snow White stuff and going into like what's important and what's not important when it comes to that. I think it's a very good point that all of us have made in regards to the importance of, if you are going to do it, well, it's got to be able to be done without changing the story of the character. If you're going to use the character's name and you're going to, adapt that character, well, then you need to make sure that you're adapting it properly. So I think it's a very, very good point. What?
Blue-eyed Scorpio.
Can they at least get an attractive Colombian? I don't think she's ugly. I don't know. I don't like. Is she like the most beautiful thing? No. I guess. I mean, she has a YouTube channel, or did, and she's apparently got a wonderful voice or whatever. But like, yeah. Only every other weekend would I ever venture towards singing YouTube channels because
yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of. I don't know.
Like,
I'm
I don't think she's not ugly.
Week. But every week we just hear something about another race swapped character. You know, we had the G.I. Joe thing. Every week it's just this is where I say, like, to
Superman.
them in Hollywood, it is so fucking important to have the women, the black, the LGBTQ behind in front of the camera. Like,
and that's a valid argument. Like, that's a valid argument just to say, like, this obsession with doing it for the sake of it. Like, I would agree that is an issue. Like, because the focus then becomes that instead of like, hey, let's make something good. And maybe this movie will be good. I doubt it because, like, to me, it can't possibly be good because it's a stupid story. But you know, I'm not, like, literally Disney princess stories are not made for me.
No, not made for me either.
Although, you know, I will say that I saw Frozen with my niece, and like I could sit through it. It was all right.
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't buy it and watch it on my own though.
The thing for me though is that these aren't for me. But growing up with two sisters, I did see a lot of Disney princesses. So I've seen a lot. Like, I've seen probably all of them, to be honest with you. Little Mermaid, you name it. I've watched.
I've probably seen them all.
Serious, okay.
No,
I've probably seen all the old cartoons. Yeah, because I had a sister growing up as well. So, I certainly never collected them.
My favorite line from The Little Mermaid is, "You got to pucker your lips like this."
I actually couldn't stand that movie. I know that, like, that's sacrilege, but I found that movie just to be annoying as fuck.
E. Clay Thompson for $6.38. Very precise money there. Thank you very much. How do you have a mouse plague and feral cat problem at the same time in Australia? Good luck down there. Yeah, well, who knows? We'll probably end up having floods and bushfires all at the same time. So you never really know. But thank you, E. Clay Thompson. I appreciate that.
That's what you guys get for leaving your houses now.
Yeah. And I think he's out. Yes, so thank you. Oh no, maybe not. He's saying good. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Yes. So it's bad that they fucking keep race swapping, sex swapping when it actually does affect. And the other thing too, though, that I'm sick of is just remakes in general. Just going back to that real quick. Like, why do we need these remakes? No remakes so far that I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but no remake has topped the original. Can you name a remake that's topped the original?
We did
Disney specifically.
Anything.
Well, anything, but if you can think of a Disney one, even better.
I think we did sequels. I don't know if we did remakes.
Yeah,
like we talked. There are some sequels that are better than the original.
Mm-hmm.
No, we did some remakes not too long ago.
Oh yeah, because like if you look at like the really old movies that they're based on, some
the
like
Bounty,
really old classic or foreign movies, yeah.
The Thing. Oh, he's talking about the 80s versus the 50s, not the 2010 one or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Bounty with Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson's way better than any other Mutiny on the Bounty ever made. Big time.
Again, I could be wrong, but especially more recently in regards to the remakes, I suppose. The Disney remakes that they have been doing, none of them have really been all that good.
Well, see,
did you guys see Hansel and Gretel? That one with Jeremy Renner and...
Hell no.
No.
I was just curious. It's funny because it's a really sort of more gory sort of twist on the fairy tale.
Oh wow, a fairy tale and a horror movie together! Yay!
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Let's talk some Bad Batch real quick.
Yeah.
Your favorite?
How many fucking episodes are left? Like 5?
We're halfway through. No, so there's 8 more.
Oh my gosh!
There's 16 in total.
Torture.
It is torture.
Yeah.
And I'm not even fucking watching it, and I feel tortured.
Yep.
Just because of you, Rhino.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'd torture myself to give you this.
I have a feeling there's more people in the chat that probably actually watch this fucking show.
Put a 1 in the chat if you watch it. If you're watching the Bad Batch, put a 2 if you're not.
As we speak.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play something just because all the super chats for everyone. I keep forgetting to do this. So I'll give you...
They came bounding over.
Fuck off! Disney! You fucking cunt!
Dumb fuck.
You're such a dumb fuck. You're such a dumb fuck.
Dumb fuck.
Fucking dumb fuck.
Did you get that, like, repeating? Like,
Jeez.
echoing?
No.
I did. That's weird.
Yeah, I did too. I think it's like coming through maybe on your speakers or your mic is picking it up or something.
That's weird because my headphones are in. There's no way that the audio can even be coming through there.
I don't know.
So there's a few in the chat that are watching it. It looks like there's more in the chat that aren't watching it.
No, what I meant is like there's more people in our chat total than watch the show on Earth.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because nobody, I think, other than you, is talking about it.
There's no hype. Oh,
there's no interest in the show at all. I mean, at least that I can pick up. I'm sure there is, but like this is certainly not a hit. Like, unfortunately, we'll never know because it's behind the streaming service wall, so you can't tell. But like these. Just by listening to like the lack of buzz or interest in this show cannot be doing well at all. I hope it was cheap to make.
Well, you know what, Justin? I actually hope that, of course, Leslye Headland's thing goes ahead. I hope that Rian Johnson gets 3 trilogies, like a trilogy of trilogies.
Absolutely. Bring him on.
You know what? I actually hope Kathleen Kennedy either does get fired or leaves to prove that just getting rid of her is not going to change a goddamn thing.
True.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait for it all to come crashing down when everything that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing ends up resulting in the sequel trilogy. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that didn't they come out kind of recently and say that like this next season or like going forward, it's about connecting or getting into the origins of the First Order.
Mm-hmm. And there was a new Star Wars encyclopedia that just got released, and the images are all from the sequels and The Mandalorian. And there's a couple of obviously OT characters, and I think there's Anakin on there and stuff like that. It's all coming together. You think that what they're doing with the MCU, the Lucasfilm doesn't want to try and match that? Like they're still chasing the MCU in regards to how they're structuring their universe, and they want to do the same thing. And I hope they use the world between worlds to open up some sort of multiverse.
Yeah.
In Star Wars.
Oh, by the way, Steven and I are going to talk about multiverses tomorrow night and why they don't work in Star Wars. So
I don't think they work in most things, to be honest.
Well, I think he's of the same opinion, just like Mark was, because Mark was pretty much against multiverses. So can't wait to talk about it. But what are we going to do here?
A multiverse essentially says that what you're watching doesn't matter and can be undone by just a wave of a hand. Mm-hmm. It's like really hard to get invested in stuff that's just literally doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. And then a lot of people get turned off by trying to keep up with it all too,
That too.
I want to see how many more people Chewbacca can have a shower with.
Oh,
that's what I really, really want to see. That's.
Well, ask Doctor Strange. Like, in how many of these realities did Han take a shower with Chewbacca?
Oh, a lot. But the TVA kept rolling up and resetting the timeline.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, that meme that I put on Twitter, you guys saw it, didn't you? They got like 900 likes or something.
What?
I thought it was, it's insane.
Did you make that?
No, I wish.
Oh.
I wish. I can't take credit for that.
My Lucas Filth logo that I made, I think it was the day that Gina got fired. I had over 600 likes, but I can't fucking find the tweet. I need to hunt for that.
You're not too late. We've gone for an hour and a half. So, you know, if you want to go back, we talked about Leslye Headland right at the beginning. We've talked a little bit about Snow White, and now we're just sort of getting into the Bad Batch. But through the Snow White stuff and through, actually, it's been a great conversation. It's been a great
what's
stream.
up to Halim29?
Yes. So thank you. If you want to go back and watch, but of course, we've still got the Bad Batch and Loki to talk about. Excuse me.
So what are we going to do here? Look at images from the episode? Or?
So let me just set this up. Actually, I can't even remember the episode. Let me just... Okay, that's right. So this is called The Reunion. Of course, it speaks for itself. Crosshair's going to have some sort of reunion with the guys, the other Bad Batch guys. Now, from where we left off last week, they haven't left that junkyard of a planet yet because they don't know where to go, and they owe Sid money. Now, I'm going to bring this up now. They owe Sid money for not collecting the droid head in one of the quests that we didn't see the end result of, right? So all of that dialogue that took place in regards to them owing her money was all off screen. So they've got this massive debt with her. Now, at this junkyard, the ship that they're using hasn't emptied their weapons, fucking, what do they call it? Arsenal. So they need to, they're going to take some of that stuff so that they can sell it, get the money. They keep calling it fucking money instead of credits, but they can get their money so that they can pay off Sid. Now, they got sent on this mission by Sid to go and get the droid head for some client, right? They come back with nothing. That means that they owe her money for what she lost on that thing. Now, they had it. They had the information, and they gave that information to the Rufus sisters. But let me change the whole scenario of that episode. They get sent on the mission to go get the droid head. They look for the droid head, and they can't fucking find it. No matter what they do, it's just not there. It's already been destroyed, whatever the case may be. They go back to Sid and say, sorry, they'd already destroyed it by the time we got there. And by the time we found it, it was already done. You owe me money now. That's the equivalency of what's actually happened. It doesn't make any sense. Why do they even fucking owe her money? Are they even working for her? It just seems that they keep going back to the bar, keep getting sent on a fucking mission by her, and something has to fuck up. So anyway, that was just really confusing to me. I didn't understand the entire debt situation of why they even owed her money. So of course they've been caught by the guild that's there, the Scrapper Guild, I think they call it. And they let the Empire know while they're trying to repair the ship. The Empire shows up. Oh, this is the other thing too. It's actually the Kaminoans. It's actually the Kaminoans that have actually put the bounty out on the child, because this conversation here that takes place is we're going to have to go to sort of Plan B or something, because they're sort of basically just sending troops off to kill them, but we need the kid back, right? So they're like, as long as one of the bounty hunters gets them, then we should be okay. So we now have the establishment that it's actually them that have put the bounty out on Omega, which you could have probably assumed from the very beginning because of what happens. But anyway, of course, because they've worked together so much, they're using, each other's strategies against them. So, of course, they tap into their comms. The Bad Batch guys tap into these troops' comms, and Crosshair through the comms said, we're going to go to this area. So they avoid that area, but because they were tapping into their comms, it's a trap, right?
It's a trap.
Man, it's just, I will say it's pretty boring. Oh, there was this. I'll have to actually show you this. Okay. So they're running through the ship, right? Trying to find a way out, sneak a way out. They look down and they're like, someone's coming. Okay. And then they go off and hide to the side here. Let me just pause for 1 second, give you a little bit of commentary. There's none to give, but here we go. 4 troops. Are you telling me not one looked right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just watch that again.
They're incompetent, remember?
I know it's a nitpick. I get it. It's a fucking nitpick. Right? And I don't know if this, I must admit, I didn't notice this back when, if it is in the OT or in the prequels or whatever, but when stormtroopers are talking through their helmets, do they do this?
Not always, no.
How many times do you think you've ever seen a trooper do this? Yes, Captain, coming.
Right.
Yes, right? God, I went too far. I went way too far. Why did it end up all the way back there? All right. See, look, even that picture. Do they do that? Is that how their comms work? They got to push a button.
Stormtroopers don't, but I couldn't tell you with certainty if
every time they're communicating now, it's
you
know,
they're using the Force. That's what they're
doing. They're nitpicks. Again, I understand that they are nitpicks, but like I think, see, there he goes, puts his hand on his helmet, right, to communicate, and they are right there. And even Echo or Tech or someone is literally here. So not this guy. None of them looked right.
You know why that's complete bullshit? Because
he's right there.
Those helmets should give them like a 180-degree view with the visual stuff that comes with it. So they would have seen them in their peripheral vision. That's just cartoon writing, man. It's further proof.
Continuity, people. I'm pretty sure it was Dave Filoni who wrote it. I'm pretty sure.
What, this episode?
We can have a look at the end.
I got it pulled up on Wikipedia right now. It was by Christian Taylor.
Okay.
Whoever the hell that is.
So
probably not a Christian.
After they track their movements because they tap into their comms and they set their trap. Crosshair's like so predictable, but Hunter's trying to talk him down and say you're being controlled, but of course that's not getting through. They fire the cannons, which makes the entire sort of building, that part of the ship, completely collapse, and they actually have to make their way out through the engine. They actually go through the engine at the back of the ship. When they get to the back of the ship, let me just skip forward a bit. Crosshair's, of course, waiting for them, sniping them. They've got to set up charges around the outside here, right, to blow off the thing so they fall so that they don't get burnt up by the engine that they've just engaged. And when that happens, it actually ends up getting Crosshair. Now, this is where I actually think they're going to make Crosshair into like a Vader type looking villain. So that falls. And then it's like, boom. And he gets fucked up. Okay. Let me see. They fall through and they survive. See, this is the thing. They basically make it out that he is actually more fucked up than he looks. Like, it's like the Disney, they censored the amount of injury that he had. Not in theory, but when you see it, like his whole half of his face should be completely like blistered and burnt and fucked up.
Yeah.
So of course they get back to him. Okay, so when they first got there, Crosshair sends off a squad of guys to find the Bad Batch's ship and set up a perimeter around it, right? They go to get there. It's Omega and Hunter, because when the back of the ship that they blew off, it fell and it split into two. So Hunter and Omega ended up together in one half of it, and the other guys, Wrecker, Tech, and Echo, are all in the other half. So they're like, we'll meet at the ship. So they go to meet at the ship. All the troops are actually like dead, and you get the Cad Bane cameo appearance.
Got to have one every episode, right?
Yeah. So of course he wants the kid. It's funny, there was those. They weren't rendered properly. The other episodes that were released with Cad Bane and Boba Fett and their standoff. This is a bit of a rip-off of that scene, but also too, we've been told that is canon, and Cad Bane's dead. So they've retconned that, just so you know. Because Boba kills him in a complete standoff like this. Now, I haven't shared sound, but I probably shouldn't play the music. It's very Western music. After the conversation, they're very like, here we go. So, they do that whole draw sort of thing, standing there staring each other down. And like I said, the music is very Westernized.
Oh my gosh.
I will say, not the worst thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world. They did build the suspense. The music actually did feel quite good in this scene. But, the setup for the scene, like I said, Cad Bane in their own canon is dead already. They have ripped this off from that scene from, I don't know what episode it was supposed to be, but, one of those Clone Wars episodes. Anyone in the chat know what I'm talking about? I'm sure there'll be someone in there. Like it goes on for a little while, and he gets hit, and then he stuns Omega and takes her, and then it ends pretty much. Oh, hang on, let me get back to here so that you can see what they're doing with Crosshair. Okay, see him? So that's why, see all the bandages and everything. That's why I think that they were supposed to make it look like he was more injured from getting burnt than they actually showed. You know what I mean? Because they got to censor it a little bit. They can't make it so gruesome. But this is why I think that they're going to make him sort of like a bit of a Vader type villain. He's going to have some oxygen that keeps him alive. He's got a broken arm. So he's got a few injuries. But that's why I think that that's what they're going to do with it. They're going to make him the big Vader villain. And then it just ends with them picking up Hunter from inside Hunter's helmet, you see? Now, is that how the view of their helmets work? Is it just like a slither like that? I thought they would have had more peripherals.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
Anyway. And then he just says that there was a bounty hunter. He doesn't know who it was, and that's it. That's the episode. Now, again, this is a longer sort of series. It's not 16 episodes, and this was episode 8, so it is halfway through. But they didn't have to make the series this long. I understand setting up a story, and they've got to have the setups, but there have been a couple of storylines. Like the helmet head thing, the head that they had to get, that mission was a complete failure for them, right? But the entire importance of that was to have Trace and Rafa show up so that she can report back to whoever they report to, so that person can report to Rex to tell them to tell Rex that he knows where there's some rogue clones. Go and check them out. Goes and finds them, helps them get their chips out. Like, there's episodes that aren't necessary, basically, or there's moments that aren't necessary. But all in all, the whole thing is just they keep.
It looks like trash.
And this is where I sort of say that it's a lot like The Mandalorian too, in the fact that the Mandalorian, you've got your cameo appearances from all different, each episode you've got your cameo, set up the next story, set up the next series, set up the next something. You've got you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Now, I don't have a problem with like one episode in isolation, sort of, having to do a job like that or something, right? But when it's a lot of that just constantly, it's horrible. The last 2 episodes for the Bad Batch have actually been quite decent because it's revolved around the Bad Batch. Not so much, I mean, this last one, it ends with, the importance of Omega, but you still had Crosshair show up and do his thing. Anyway, there's really not much to it, to be honest with you. We've got episode 9 tonight. I'm not looking forward to it. It's not like when you watch a series, you get to the end of an episode and you're like, I've got to watch another episode.
Right.
I just gotta. It doesn't feel like that. And they just missed the boat with all of it. We know that with Disney and Kathleen Kennedy and all the crap. Dave Filoni's no better. No better. But anyway, that's pretty much the Bad Batch. You guys got any comment?
No, I mean...
No. You guys aren't watching it, so.
I enjoy looking at the Wikipedia entry to see if there's anything they've appropriated, but it looks like in this one, it's pretty much shit they've already appropriated. I mean, I didn't like Clone Wars, so Cad Bane really don't care, but I don't see anything else new that they haven't already used in prior episodes. But yeah, it sounds just like a cartoon, just you'd expect in a cartoon for those troopers not to see them right there, not like in a live action television. But remember, stormtroopers are dumb. That's kind of the excuse for everything.
Yeah. Well, again, there's nothing overly law breaking in this in regards to, the things that I complain about. It's hyperspace and tracking fobs and things like that. But, the there's retcons in there, and it's like I said, it just feels like The Mandalorian just in a different medium.
Yeah.
Greg, were you going to say something?
Huh?
Were you going to say something?
That was a good nap. No, still zero interest. The kid, every time I even see a picture of the kid, I feel annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even watch the show. I just know what the character, how they're presenting it. I'm just like, somebody, please. Or I watch you watching the episode and you're like, kill her. Kill her.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't save her. Kill her. She seems really annoying.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know my lord. Wouldn't an interesting story be how the Empire converted from an all clone army to an all stormtrooper army?
There is a little bit of that in here. There is definitely a little bit of that in here, but that's not the basis.
That's kind of where I would kind of focus. If I were doing a Bad Batch thing, I would spin it around that stuff and not do the girl that's the key to everything garbage. And not focus on how the rebellion's forming. I'm interested in how did the Empire, we know how the Empire rose, but we don't know what happened to all the stormtroopers that they're, or clone troopers that chips are fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they just age out of the army and retire? Were they slaughtered? What happened to them?
Yeah.
Because it was a whole huge army that allowed him to basically be an emperor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine. They were the enforcement mechanism. How were they able to transition to a regular enlisted army kind of situation away from the clones. And then what happened to all the clones? Because we're talking like hundreds of thousands or millions of them, right? Where'd they all go?
Yeah. Well,
like an interesting story for me for the Bad Batch would be like, yeah, the Empire is converting over to regular troops, and they're just luring these clones to the slaughter somewhere on a planet where they're just getting like annihilated or whatever, and like the Bad Batch tries to intervene to save some of their brothers and rescue them, or something like that would be something I might actually be interested. But that's too dark of a story for this stupid kind of cartoony shit that Furry Boy loves.
Yeah. Dave Filoni.
That to me would be in it. That's where I would, if I were to be like, okay, I'm gonna tell a story in this time period. That's where I would focus.
It's funny that you say that. Kanan Jarrus, obviously, we see him in the very first episode of the Bad Batch, and with 16 episodes, he's definitely going to be showing up later on. It might end up being a season finale thing with him, because I think that they are doing another season of this. But it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes, and how it all falls apart, I suppose. All right.
Logistically, responding to the chat, like converting that many million troops to just regular recruits that you got to like put through training and then deploy. That's not something you can do real quick.
The way that they're setting it up in this is they've already got a squad of recruits that are actually now working behind Crosshair. So those main guys that are all behind him aren't clones. All the other soldiers that were there were clones. But this is where the Empire's testing to see if recruits can work just as well or better than clones. So they're actually there is a little bit of that going on. It was early on in the series, so there might be a little bit more later on in the series, but
because I think it'd be like why switch away from the clones when they serve their purpose so well in the first place? Like why did the Empire just not keep making more clones?
Well, I think for Palpatine, it's more the fact that they could be a liability because of what he's done with Order 66. And there obviously are some out there, like the Bad Batch and like Rex, that are liabilities to his empire in some way.
Oh, like somebody's going to like tell on the Emperor, like, oh, this Order 66 is a planted thing. Like, who'd even believe it?
Mm-hmm.
And like they could just annihilate. I mean, like the Empire isn't trying to win a PR war. Their entire method of rule is subjecting everybody to oppressive military control. There's no they're not really big into the propaganda so much as just literally oppressive control. That's what makes them so damn evil.
I'm so bored with it. Like,
yeah, I don't know why you continue to watch it, to be honest. You like literally like drag, like these episodes seem boring as shit. It seems to not be going anywhere. But then we're also not getting any like really great character development either. Everybody's just still kind of the same.
It's not good. It's not good. But I could say the same thing for Loki, which we'll get into now. So I'm getting a bit of a headache. Let me share my screen again. Let's talk about this a little bit. So we're 3 episodes into Loki. Now, again, I understand.
I'm 0 episodes in.
Yeah. I understand that there's a thing
I
win. Story development and building the story and building the plot and all of that sort of thing. I get all of that. But this episode was fucking boring. Boring. There was just a lot of Loki and Sylvie. Is that her name? Talking.
No idea.
Getting to know each other. It's funny, I had somebody comment on my review saying, you don't even know the fucking name, and you like, I can't remember the exact comment, I fucking barely read it, but they were just having a go at me because I didn't remember the name of the lady Loki, Sylvie, or Sylvia or whatever, and that then made my arguments completely irrelevant in his eyes. Okay. So, last episode ended off with Sylvie putting the timeline into chaos. She sent like those reset devices that the TVA have to all different places, and she reset multiple different timelines all at the same time and sent the thing into chaos. The TVA obviously is trying to send off all their troops to try and fix up the timeline. While they're doing that, Sylvie teleports back to the TVA because she wants to take over or, destroy the timekeepers or something. Because, of course, the timekeepers are a threat to her existence because she's a variant, right? So they can essentially melt her and just reset whatever timeline she affects. So in that process of trying to get to the timekeepers, her and Loki end up in a bit of a scuffle, but then there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of joking around, there's a lot of talking and stuff that happens between these two. And obviously Loki doesn't want to kill her, and she kind of wants to kill him, but doesn't really want to kill him. I don't exactly know how the dynamic's working there. But the main chick of the TVA shows up with a few soldiers. They start fighting and everything. She realizes that she can't use her powers in the TVA, and it sort of fucks everything up. And Loki sends them to 2077, where on some planet there's an apocalypse happening where a moon is crashing into the planet. I can't remember the name of it. So they've obviously got to get off this planet, but
so they're going to kill Chewbacca in this timeline, in this Marvel thing?
Yeah, that's right. They're going to have a shower first. They've got the tablet thing, but it's run out of charge. So that last portal thing that they created conveniently drain the batteries out of it. So they're stuck on this planet that's going through an apocalypse that essentially is going to wipe out all of the civilization of this planet. So that's the name of it there. So they're trying to get off the planet. They're trying to find enough power to be able to charge up the tablet thing, the iPhone, so that they can get away from this apocalypse. And during the process of them trying to find a power source to be able to charge it, Loki breaks it. They're stuck there. There's apparently some ark that the locals of this planet are building, like a big spaceship to get off it. And that gets destroyed right at the very end of the episode. So that was their last hope to get off this planet, or else they're going to be destroyed. And as they're sort of just about to be able to get past all the soldiers that are fucking trying to stop them for some reason while fucking meteors are fucking hitting the planet, a massive rock just comes in and smashes the ship, so they can't get off the planet anymore. Loki's just standing there at the end like, oh my God. So, of course, next episode is going to be a follow on from there. Literally, that's all it is. They have a fight. Battery's flat. There's the tablet. Oh, and she's all like, I don't need your help. I made this point in my review that there's, woke feeling moments in this, right? In the way that she talks to him, the way that she acts and all of that sort of thing. Now, if we weren't living in such a world where it was so important and all of this kind of thing, it actually kind of makes sense. You know, he fucked up her plans back over at the TVA and sent them to a planet where they're completely stranded on a place where they're about to be destroyed, and they've got no way of getting off it. So, of course, why would she want his help? I get that, right? But when the importance of these characters, you know, be women, be black characters, all of this kind of thing, and that's what's important. And, you know, we heard it from the horse's mouth. Kevin Feige said the reason why we couldn't have Doctor Strange in WandaVision was because we can't have the black-white male coming in and, you know, mansplaining. You know, Falcon and Winter Soldier was just a catalyst to show the black oppression in America. Like, the rest of the world doesn't give a flying fuck about that, Kevin Feige, just to let you know. And I'm sure half of America doesn't really give a fuck about it either. But then there doesn't seem to be a lot of it. But when you do get those little bits of it, it's hard to ignore it because it is so important to Disney that they do it, right? So anyway, I just wanted to make that point because a few people pulled me up on it and go, you know, that's good storytelling. That's in the development. I get it. You're right. But because it is important to them, that's why I see it the way I see it. God, really, there's not much more to it than that, to be honest with you. They keep having these fights. They keep having these arguments. They're getting to know each other. They start helping each other out to get onto this train. I reckon one of the better conversations was the conversation that they had on this train. But the conversation was what's their definition of love, right? Because they basically started to talk about their parents. So her mum died before she even got to know her mother. So she asks this Loki, what was our mum like, or what was your mum like? Right? Because she never had a mum in her reality. So you know, it does set up a pretty good little conversation and stuff like that. And you know, that there definitely is no trust between them until they get right up to the end, and then she actually blatantly asks him, "Do we trust each other?" See, it's literally just them moseying along this planet, trying to get off it, but just a lot of dialogue.
Hey, wait a minute here. So, female Loki is a variant.
Correct, and so is this Loki.
So is this Loki. Okay. So,
sorry, and we found out that everybody working at the TVA is a variant, but they just don't know it.
Okay, why don't they know? Okay.
That's what's interesting about it, that they don't know it.
Okay, so get two Lokis. One grew up with his mom and basically essentially was responsible for her murder.
Correct.
Right?
And he knows that.
The other one didn't know that, like, so are the timekeepers, like, how could there be that huge of a variance between the two? Like, the gender alone, right? But two, how could there be that big of a variance in, like, the mom dying taking place, like, 30 some odd years apart from each other in one timeline versus another, but that be, like, the variance, if the timekeepers, whatever, were fixing that, like, how could there be that divergent of a variant? Because if they're resetting the timeline to be the way it's quote unquote supposed to be the whole way through, the only variance you would see would be very minor ones that just recently occurred.
Mm-hmm.
So these two essentially should have diverted from each other very, very near. See, there is no butterfly effect, though, because they're resetting the timeline, so there's no the butterfly effect.
But no,
melting people.
The reason why there's no butterfly effect on the planet that they're on, or in this place that they're at right now, is because everybody on this planet gets killed. It's an apocalypse.
Yeah, there's no
way that you can change what happens. That's what the point of it is, and that's why she's so pissed off with him, because he sent them to one of the worst apocalypses to try and escape. That's why there's no butterfly effect in this. If, let's say, they did go to a planet where there's no apocalypse, as soon as they talk to someone, as soon as they interact with something and change one little thing, like I could literally I teleport in and I move this can of Coke from there to there, and it would start to create an offshoot that the TVA would then be able to see and go straight to that point in time, right? But
how do you get two wildly different Lokis then? If they're policing it the whole way through.
Well, they kind of explain that at the beginning. This is where it does get a little confusing, but they kind of do explain that at the beginning, that originally there were multiple different timelines, right? Multiple different multiverses, and they were all fighting for the right to be the ultimate timeline or something.
The supreme
right?
one, whatever.
The supreme timeline. So instead of doing that, what they did is the timekeepers made it one timeline, right? So essentially, the variants didn't know that the variants exist. So, I don't know.
So this Loki is from a remnant from the war?
It even gets even more confusing when you add in the Doctor Strange thing. The Doctor Strange seeing 14 million or 16 million different variants. Like, how could he have seen that many different variants? How lucky is it that the one variant that he did see was the one that they actually are a part of? Like...
So when the Timekeepers won the war or whatever, the multiverse war, not even sure how that even fucking works. Like, did they not? What did they do with everybody from the other timelines or the other multiverses?
All the multiverses. Again, this is where it gets really confusing, and I can't even make an understanding out of this comment. But this is where all the multiverses have all been brought together. Right. To the point where they actually don't think that there are other multiverses. So
they're all running this. They're all running everything concurrently.
Yeah. So like
everyone's a mirror.
This Loki correct. This Loki had no idea that the TVA was a thing. Like, is this the most ultimate power in the universe? He asks himself. Right.
So again, I ask, how does female Loki and Loki possibly exist in a world where the TVA is so precisely managing the timeline?
But this is what they're trying to change, because both of these variants are now loose, and they've created offshoots. All they need
both
to do
of these variants, by the rules of the universe so far, as you've described it, their existence is impossible.
Not impossible.
No, literally impossible. For them to be so divergent in gender, look, history. Like, Loki is how old when his mom dies? This one, her mom was never alive. That's a wildly, like, we're talking spans of, I don't know how long Asgardians live, but like, we'll just assume they're Earth. They have the same age range as Earth. You're talking 30, 40 years of events separating when the mothers die. How could one be a variant of the other when they occurred so long ago? Because presumably the TVA would fix it. So let's make it even simpler. Gender, right? One's female, one's male, right?
Yep.
Why didn't the TVA fix that? At the moment Loki was born, and let's say in the timelines diverged somehow, and in one timeline there's a female, and one timeline there's Tom Hiddleston's, right? Why didn't they fix it? So the TVA has been didn't fix any of that all the way, and to the point where they've lived their entire lives, one with a mom, one without, before. The difference between the two is impossible to justify if the TVA is doing what they're said to be doing.
I can't say that it's impossible when you're talking about a multiverse, though, because you in a multiverse you can have a good Superman, you can have a bad Superman, right?
But in this universe, the TVA is preventing that.
But see, this is the thing. They're trying to prevent it. If they can melt these two and reset the timeline, then they've fixed it.
But they should have melted it. They should have melted them a long time ago. Is what I'm saying.
But see,
the fact is the TVA isn't.
Hang on. This is where it gets interesting with the fact that the people working at the TVA don't know that they're variants. So this is why, like, obviously they didn't melt him, right? Okay, so who's actually running this TVA? Is it even the TVA, or is this just Mephisto playing tricks on everyone and running?
Oh, that would be so fucking stupid.
It would be, but I'm just saying, is it Mephisto behind the scenes? And he's actually the one that's actually in control of the timeline. I mean, that would be fucking out of this world if they did that stupid.
They need a Doc Brown style timeline diagram to figure this shit out. I have to look at something visually to figure it out.
So basically, all I'm saying is that if the TVA has been doing this the whole time, there's no way that there should be even two Lokis that are this different.
Well, the thing that annoys me
in the first place, like, it's impossible.
That annoys me, the two examples that I look at the most at the moment is the rat stepping on the thing in Endgame to bring back Ant-Man. So if the rat doesn't do that, the TVA shows up, melts the rat, resets the timeline, doesn't do it again, melts the rat, resets the timeline. And the going for the head. So if Thor had have gone for the head and saved the universe before fucking Thanos snapped, the TVA would show up, melt fucking Thor, and reset the timeline until he fucking doesn't go for the head. To me, it still takes away from all the free will.
Well, and here's, like, I'm not going to watch this show. I'm not invested in it, but, like, so I'm basing it on what you're telling me. We are now halfway done with the entire series, right? Because there's 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Like, there's no way they are on the path to do exactly what they fucking did with WandaVision.
Yeah.
Just basically pay off nothing.
Nothing. Yep. Yep.
Because if you're invested in the show, fine. But, like, understand, there's only 6 episodes, so you've seen half of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you're gonna get? Honest question, people watching the show. Do you think you're gonna get any payoffs?
No, they haven't even set anything up to pay off.
Right. Well, I mean, like explaining anything. So, like, it's a lot of mystery box stuff right now. Like, where the TVA, what have they been doing? It's all mystery box, mystery box, mystery box. Are you gonna get? But when I say payoff, are you gonna get any explanation and like why things are the way they are, or how things work, or what's it all mean? All that stuff. Like, I know, like, there's a lot of MCU stands out there. It'd be nice. Who are going to say, well, it's all just leading into the Doctor Strange movie. They'll pay it off in Doctor Strange. Do you think, really?
Yeah, you really think so? They fucking changed the Doctor Strange script so that they fucking, and the WandaVision script, just so that, man, that fucking...
It's the door to open up to the Nothing Matters verse.
Yeah. I can't wait to see...
And everything is just gobbledygook and shit.
I can't wait to see what they give us in regards to Doctor Strange. And then I would love to be able to see what the script was before they changed it for the whole WandaVision thing. Let me just quickly jump back. Terminus sent $5. He says, if Disney casts an Asian actress as to be Snow White, she wouldn't be Snow White. She'd be...
Yellow snow.
Wow.
Write your name in the snow. Wow. But yeah, look, that episode, see, this is the thing though, is again, there was a little bit of the dialogue that took place between the two Lokis, just getting to know each other and sort of maybe expanding on the multiverse a little bit more through those conversations. but it was very boring. It was very slow. It took a long time to get through the episode, and it feels like the episode's not even finished because they end with them still stranded on this planet.
It sounds to me like they ended the episode in Act 2.
The TVA, yeah. Well, this is the thing, though, is the TVA don't know where they are. Nothing that they do can enlighten the TVA of where they are, because it's an apocalypse, and they've got a busted iPhone, and the ship that they were going to try and leave on has just been destroyed. That's where we're at. So, again, talking about being halfway through, what are we going to spend a whole nother episode on this fucking dead planet of them just having a lot of dialogue sitting around?
Yeah, fucking third Loki's going to show up with a battery, and they'll be fine.
Oh, you wouldn't, man. I'm gonna fucking laugh if that happens.
Here's my big warning, and everybody to you, and Slash, I told you so. Like, look, when it comes to modern Hollywood, nothing good is going to come from quote unquote multiverses, because what it's really going to be is just going to be like, we don't have, like, things don't have to make a sense now at all. It's just multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can just have these weird, threads out there that just lead to nowhere, and they can just go, "Oh, multiverse," because that's now going to be the excuse for not going anywhere, not having a plan, and not paying anything off. Just multiverse. And I don't think it's going to be exclusive to Marvel. I think they're absolutely going to do the same thing in DC, because it's the super lazy writers and lazy producers way to not really have to pay anything off for to just tell random chunks of story but not complete it. And so they can literally just do whatever they want anytime they want and just say multiverse. And that's what you're going to get out of both camps. That's what it's designed to do. Now, could you do a multiverse well? Yes, if you actually have structured ones. Like a little bit like in the DC universe, they have they number the Earths, right? Earth 1, whatever.
Yeah.
Like if you say this story is taking place on this particular Earth or in this particular multiverse, and then you stay consistent within that particular one with all your stories, fine. That can exist at the same time as another Earth with a different Superman on it that maybe gets raised by the Luthor family instead of the Kent family, right? Mm-hmm. Fun, what if story, right? You could do those, but to cross them over, or just to basically say, oh no, none of that mattered, multiverse. That's what we're going to end up getting.
Yeah,
it's not going to be contained. It's not going to make sense. It's going to be all your food running together on this plate, and they're just going to go eat it. It's multiverse.
Did you guys see what the writer said about it on Twitter? I did. If I did, I can't remember.
No.
Vistra, what would they say? Or can you give us the handle of the person who said it? I don't know who the writer is.
It's capital W. That's the proper noun. It's just writer. Writer said it.
But yeah, look. I don't know. I just want some good entertainment. I'm sick of
not gonna get it.
I'm sick of
never gonna get it. Never going.
Them trying to adapt these things that we've loved for so long, and honestly trying to destroy it. It's it almost seems intentional.
Yeah, it is.
Well, at least it was from Rian Johnson's point of view.
It is. It's literally just laziness.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to tell. The idea of closing a story up, wrapping it up, having a plan, having a plot, character development, all these things are just
racist.
Well, racist, unnecessary, blasé. They're just ugh, that's so old fashioned. No, we just want to write stuff and put stuff out there, and you just buy stuff.
Oh yeah, I know what Weistra's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that is fucking stupid.
You have to see yourself and everything.
It's basically the whole idea of seeing yourself on the screen and all that shit. Like, again, this is what's so important to them. How about you just make something entertaining that everyone can actually feel for, or like everyone can pretty much see themselves in Luke Skywalker in some way, shape, or form. Whether you're black, white, male, female, trans, fucking gay, lesbian, straight, his motivations are his motivations. As a normal human being, your motivation.
Human beings have enough in common that you can draw. We have enough in common that you can draw and see yourself in pretty much any character. Like, it doesn't have to be the superficial things. Because like human beings, it's a human story. That there's a human element that we all share. We should be able to see ourselves in any character. Like in just Star Wars alone, it's like I would say I will like Princess Leia. Like I'm obviously not her.
No.
But I like her character. I could empathize with her character. Maybe I know somebody like her. Like, there's just a million things. Like, I don't have to be her in order, and she doesn't have to look like me in order for me to like her or understand her story, or even relate to her story.
Yeah,
she's human.
Well, that's the thing.
But we've lost that.
They take away the storytelling. They take away the human aspect of things because the virtue signal is more important. Anyway, sorry guys, I did want to go for a little bit longer and everything, but I'm starting to get a really bad headache. And so
my wife says that all the time. That's weird.
Sorry, not tonight. So, look, thank you, everyone, for being here. It's been a great stream again. Yes, no. I knew that was coming. I'll do it now. So, I thank all my patrons really quickly. Again, we have Daniel James, Lethal Lightning, Tim, Open Airlock Policy, Lady Teriel, My Nerdy Home, Riff Magos, and Skimitar. Thank you all very, very much for your patronage. Everyone who sent a super chat, whether it be through YouTube or Streamlabs, however you did it, thank you all very, very much. I appreciate all of you. Even if you didn't send a super chat, I appreciate you being here and hanging out with us. And it's been a great stream. All of these streams are really, really fun. So, again, thank you all in the chat very much. Tim, please let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me at the link I just put in the chat. And I'm like 3 subscribers away from 1,100. So hit that and subscribe. Tomorrow night, we got Stephen Wayne on the spacing. Yep. And again, we're going to talk about Leslye Headland. We're going to talk about why Star Wars isn't a multiverse, because I found a tweet of his from about a month ago where some weirdo was saying, oh, let's just do whatever with Star Wars and just turn it into a multiverse. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about shitty art. We're going to talk about some of his corrections, because I don't know if you guys know, but he'll take all this crappy art and redo it. He's so great at it. And then we're going to talk about He-Man, because I saw some tweets from him on this trailer where it makes it look like, hey guys, it's old He-Man. But if you really look at it, that's all from one episode. So it's probably a bunch of member berries in the first episode, and then they start hitting you with all the post-apocalyptic stuff with side cut Tila and all that. So we're going to talk about all that. And then Saturday night with these guys, plus our fourth, Alora OG Star Wars, we've got Fallen Knight, and we have all kinds of shit we want to talk about. There's another one I'd like to talk about, Britney Spears, too. There's going to be so much shit.
Yeah, boy.
There was a documentary on her last night, actually.
Really?
Yeah, on TV. I didn't watch it.
Oh, an older one, or
I don't know. I think it's a new one. She's coming out and talking about shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's literally living like a prisoner.
Yeah,
not.
I mean, like some of us could only wish to live in such luxury and consider it a prisoner, but like she doesn't have control of her own life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you didn't see our first installment of Fallen Knight, I thought it was really fun and all that stuff, the four of us. So be there Saturday night on my channel. And then Sunday night, Off the Treks with Greg here. We're going to start up our Picard Season 1, whatever you want to call it, shot by shot breakdown why it's just as bad as The Last Jedi was to Star Wars. So we're going to do that. And then I'm off for a week. I'm taking off. And then I'll be back, I guess, the week after at some point. So that's what I have going on. And I'm trying to get my Corellia lore video out, but it's probably going to be about 45 minutes long. So it's taking some time. But yeah, thanks again, Rhino, as always.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone. And please subscribe to Tim, Open Airlock Policy. And of course, Greg, thank you for being here as per usual. Please let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, you just highlighted it. Last Jedi 22 on Twitter and on YouTube. Not really producing anything for YouTube. I'm a guest panelist always.
Yeah,
which I'm quite content to be.
Nice.
You got a super chat from Melissa. Don't forget.
Yes, no, I did see that. Melissa Lord for $2 says, "Great stream, guys. Love y'all." Well, love you too with all the kissing emojis, and thank you very much, Melissa. Really appreciate that. Let me give you.
All I can think about is Ryan Johnson sucking my nuts.
There you go, Melissa. No, but yes, everyone in the chat, thank you all for being here. It has been a really, really fun stream. Let me just check Streamlabs just quickly.
I wanted to show my thumbnail too before we go for tomorrow night. I think you'll like it.
Do it.
You ever seen Hercules? It's the Hydra.
Who's that? That's something we didn't talk about. The Supergirl costume. I fucking forgot about that.
Oh gosh,
anyway, that looked like trash.
That's Leslye Headland right there.
No, I know that's Leslye Headland, but is the one on the right hand side?
That's Tila.
That's Tila.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's side cut Tila, and that's from the trailer. So what the hell happens in this show? So
they'll have an episode where she gets a haircut.
Yeah,
clearly.
Half a shaved head. Perfect.
And all her muscles,
as far as the Supergirl outfit, there's just not much to say. It's a stunt outfit, looks ugly.
Yep.
Screw you, Trey. I'm sorry you don't like my thumbnail. He said it looks like shit, guys. Wow. He's probably talking about the art, not my thumbnail.
No, he's trolling. We're going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you all next time.
I said Lyndon would go to the tree and do some ASMR for you, Lethal. In your honor.
I'm so sorry. He'd be hugging that tree. And then he'd be punching it and slapping it, going, "You took my friend." Kicking it. How dare you?
That would be you, Rhino.
Nah. Boy. I'd be there going, "Why? Fuck you, Disney! Why?"
They came bounding over.
Fuck off! Disney! You fucking cunt! R4. Pass just in the spare part canisters. Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by. Red 5 standing by.
Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil! From my point of view, the Jedi are evil! Well, then you are